Well, yeah, and we're going. You won't ever, and that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't need to. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Happy to fill in for a dirt bag. Well, that isn't
There.
good. That's not what I was looking for, but you know what I mean. I'm happy to provide the replacement for the dirt bag. No,
And
I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. The nice thing is that you can say now you've been on 2 episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
But then you'll never know. Like when we do a third one eventually in the future, you'll know. But people will be like, he was on it a second time, and you're just like, I thought you were my friend. You don't listen to the podcast, obviously.
Right. I mean, I don't expect anybody to listen to anything I do. But
yeah. Yeah, that's probably... I just realized I have a video game on, so the audio... I had to mute it so that the audio wouldn't pop on. Anyway. Zachary, what is your worst dream you've ever had?
My worst dream I've ever had?
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. I have a hard time remembering dreams after the fact. Like, I'll wake up and I'll like know what's going on, but the further I get away from it, I'm just like, what was that? Like, even if it's like an hour or two, I'll be like, wait, what was I? But it's weird. It'll be clear when I first wake up. But there is one that like sticks with me from when I was a little kid, and that was being in in like Super Mario 64, when you first get into the basement, there's a fire world, right?
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. Lava land or something like that. I don't know. And I remember it reminded me of that, and I'm a little kid. I'm like 8 years old. And I remember being there, and I'm with my grandmother, and we were trying to get somewhere, but like the lava was rising. So every night it'd be a little different, I'd end up in a different spot, but the lava would always get me.
Oh, okay.
And I don't feel like I ever overcame it in the dream.
Oh.
I think they just kind of stopped, but I remember it being like a recurring thing.
Interesting. Okay.
And so like I said, I don't have a lot of those. So I think that's got to be it, because it was scary. Like I said, I was a little kid. So, I'm getting burned up alive. My grandma's there. But she'd always disappear before whatever would happen.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you haven't had that dream since?
Oh, no. I mean, that was 20 years ago.
Okay.
Or at least 20 years ago, I should say.
Interesting. Yes. I think what your dream is trying to tell you is that you have a fear of lava.
Yeah. I might be onto something. You should go into dream analysis.
I think I should. I'm the best. Were you ever afraid of random quicksands popping up around you?
No, I feel like I was adequately prepared for it. I feel like I asked the questions early on, what do I do in the event of quicksand? And so it never really scared me.
Oh, okay.
Obviously I didn't want to be in it, but I feel like I was never, one of these kids that was terrified that I would end up in quicksand and then would die. I felt like, and I'm just, again, I'm just a kid at this point. It's probably more cocky than I should be. But I felt like, I could handle that if that's what the situation, if that's where I was.
Right. See, I because right these days, I only know you as adult Zachary, who he's pretty calm and collective and, able to keep cool under pressure. You were like that as a kid?
With certain things. I mean, like I said, I wasn't really, I don't want to say I wasn't afraid to ask questions, but like I would look stuff up a lot. Like I remember being in like second grade and like going to the library and just like picking up books and like just learning like random things. Like I had this like encyclopedia that wasn't like a picture encyclopedia, but it was probably for where I was, fourth, fifth grade.
Oh, okay.
And like it was designed to be at like that reading level. And I remember like going all the way through it, like reading all this stuff. And, so like stuff didn't really scare me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when it was before I moved to Michigan, but I was in karate classes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing that. So I felt, pretty good about that being able to defend myself. I had to do that at one point at the bus stop. You know,
Really? Wait. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Before we get into the bus stop episode, I imagine you being like, "Oh, look, quicksand," and you go up and start kicking and karating it.
No, two separate
Right.
thoughts.
Right.
But yeah, point is, I did. I felt like, again, and I wasn't, but I felt like I was adequately prepared for the world.
Okay.
Turned out, as I get older, that isn't true. And so now, of course, I'm just a wreck. But yeah, back then, I felt like I pretty much had it handled.
Well,
I got hit by an SUV and lived to tell about it. I
right.
felt unstoppable.
Right. Was that the bus incident?
No, fighting. The
Yeah.
fight was a different, unrelated. Can you imagine
Yeah.
if I fought a kid and then immediately got hit?
I was gonna say that is like such. I'm on top of the world. Boom.
Yeah, no, two different incidents, same bus stop.
Okay.
God,
that bus.
Yeah, so I lived like on a corner, which is part of why I ended up getting hit by a car there one day. But I lived on a corner, and like the bus stop that was the opposite corner, like that was all just like wooded right there for like the same amount of space that like my front yard would have taken up.
Okay.
So basically, on the opposite side of the street from like where my neighbors were, there was a house, and there was a kid there that moved, I don't know, maybe the middle of that school year, right? And he was my age. His name was Clay, and he had an older brother whose name I don't remember, but he was probably in 5th or 6th grade, something like that. But he couldn't have been much older than that because he rode the same bus that we did.
Okay.
So I remember being at the bus stop, and and Clay and I were friends, I guess, not like
you were friendly.
Like I would go over there. I remember the first time I played Mario 64 was over there, like stuff like that. And I remember going over there to the bus stop, and the older kid, and his friend wanting us to fight. They were trying to egg us on. They wanted to see us fight, I guess.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And I was like, no, because again, I've been doing karate for like 2 years, so I know.
You're gonna mop the floor with him,
right? Just that these are weapons. You use them only in self-defense. I'm not gonna,
yes.
I'm not gonna do this. And the other kid was a fucking pussy, so like he wasn't gonna do it. But then his older brother was egging him on, and I don't know if he said something that really struck a nerve or whatever. But eventually, this kid did turn to me, and he squared up, balled up his fist, and dude, I just laid him out. I didn't even wait. I hit him in the chest, and then I hit him in the stomach.
Nice.
And then he was it. He doubled over, and then he ran home. Like, that was it. And they tried to get me into trouble, and nothing happened.
Yeah. Look. That's an important life lesson. You talk shit, you get hit.
Right. I mean, I'm 7, so it's not like I killed this kid.
How old was the older brother?
Like I said, I feel like they must have been maybe 5th grade, probably. Oh. So what is that, 11-ish, 10 or 11?
And how come you don't talk about that more often and say him add that as your street cred?
Well, because no one can back it up. I don't live out there anymore.
So what?
That was when I lived in Washington. I now live in Michigan.
So.
And it wasn't a point of pride. I wasn't happy to, fuck this kid up and send him home. Just something that happened.
I could see you being so distraught and just staring at your hands, just, why?
Well, I mean, I wasn't like torn up about it.
Right. Oh, man.
I do feel like I remember feeling like I was going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Even though I didn't feel like I did anything wrong, I didn't think that anyone would buy that.
Right.
But they did. I mean, that older kid was an ass. So like, I think the mom was mad at first, but then I think when the picture became more clear, I think she was like, okay, like,
all right, my son's an asshole.
Yeah, it wasn't really my fault.
Mm-hmm. I wish my fight story was that good. Literally, so I remember I was in 6th grade, and one of my friends, he was a friend, but not a good friend, I guess. He would always say, "Yo, man, I'm gonna fight you," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, well I'm gonna beat you," just fun, dumb school kid stuff.
Right.
And I said that I was like, "Hey, when are you gonna fight me?" And one of his friends was like, "I'll fight you." And he was this scrappy, like dumb kid who was dumb and had a dumb face, and he was
Right.
dumb. And I was just like, oh, ha ha ha, okay. And then his group of friends, they had a person going back and forth between my group and friends saying, okay, when's it gonna happen? Where? Like, and I'm just like, I guess we can fight. I don't know. So I'll never forget how he balled up his fist. It was almost like a close-handed slap. No, wasn't like it was a close-handed
Right.
slap. So he hit me on the cheek, and I was just, huh. And I said something because everyone watched me like grab my cheek, and I was like, huh, okay, I got hit. And then I was just, I guess I'm done. But meanwhile, I was trying to hold back tears because I was just, what the fuck is going on here?
Right. You're not
Um,
ready.
I've never been into a fight. Now that I'm, super into BDSM, I'm like, I probably would have enjoyed it, but I didn't know. I didn't watch any of the or read any of the Shades movies, but yeah, it was just the strangest thing. And then I had a good close knit group of friends that were like, oh, we're gonna get this motherfucker, and I was just like, no, because there's no point. But they did
Right.
anyway. Because thinking back now, I'm like, I had a lot of fuck. I had a lot of I don't want to say hood friends because I certainly didn't grow up in a hood, but they were ready for fisticuffs, at any point in time. They were like, you know
Yeah.
what, we got you. The last altercation I had with him, I remember we were walking in the hallway and I saw him and I was like, hey dude, I don't know why I apologized. But I put out my hand for like a handshake and he just stared at me. And,
Oh,
and I was just like, okay, this guy's just trash. It doesn't matter. That's when I was like, okay, he's trash.
right.
But at the time I went to a pretty Hispanic school. This was when I was living in Texas. So, you know, could have been the upbringing. I don't know. But, he just wanted to fight. If it turns out he's in prison to this day, I would not be surprised.
Huh.
Because he was just a trashy person. He was twash. But yeah, that was the only fight I've ever been in.
I don't know. I don't know whatever happened to Clay. I don't remember his last name. I don't know how I would find him. I wonder. I like to imagine though that was like a turning point for him,
Ah,
and that he decided to stop being a little bitch and it's just
what if he became a singer?
and was and yeah, he honestly didn't look too different than Clay Aiken, but the lineup because he was on American Idol. We would have been like 10, so like
Oh,
that doesn't line up.
I don't
But
know. That honestly,
I don't remember him having a dad around though, so maybe there's something going on there. I don't know.
ah.
He was the dad or something. I don't know.
So would it make you feel good if literally, obviously you felt like crap that fight, but years later when he sees it, he's like, dude, you actually shaped the way I think and helped me see the errors of my ways, and I'm a humanitarian right now. And would you feel good about that?
Yeah, if I kicked somebody's ass into being a humanitarian, yeah, I would feel good about that. Like I said, I mean, I didn't want to fight this guy,
Yeah.
and I don't he was necessarily a bad person.
Yeah.
His brother in particular was an asshole who probably threatened to beat him up if he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And he probably figured, well, I'd rather fight this kid, this scrawny little kid that's my age, than my older brother and his friend. Like I can understand that. I don't necessarily fault you for that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I had like won like a trophy for karate right around that time. I don't know if it was before or after that. And then my karate career was cut short. I was hit by a car.
Mm.
I remember my sensei came to visit me in the hospital, brought me the nunchucks I had ordered because we were just getting to the point
Oh.
where we were old enough to start working with weapons. And so we had gone through and tried the different ones out, and then we got to order, the kind we wanted.
Mm.
So I went with nunchucks, and yeah, I remember getting them. And then I was I wasn't able to. So that happened in February of '99,
Mm-hmm.
and we moved February of 2000. So like I wasn't in good enough shape to go back
Ah.
by the time we moved. And then I remember doing like a intramural thing, for 8 weeks or whatever. Maybe when I was in 5th grade, my whole family did it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the only time I ever did anything like that again.
It is now, obviously, again, you're older. Is that something that you wish that you could have continued or maybe go back to?
Yeah, yes to both.
Mm.
I definitely wish I'd continued it for sure. Um, yeah, I think compared to other kinds of athletics,
Mm.
because I mean this might shock you, but I was picked on a lot as a kid
Mm.
and adult, I guess, and so I think I did try to do different team sports with moderate success, but I mean I felt like the odd one out,
Mm.
um, thing except ultimate frisbee because I was real good at that.
Yeah.
But when I played soccer, like I was still getting picked on. Not that I was bad or anything, but I
Yeah, it's soccer.
was still the dorky kid that didn't know anybody. You know,
Look at that kid. He doesn't know anybody.
like when you move to a new area, you don't know
That's
anybody. They
oh,
ask about that. And then I
that's
remember in high school, I wasn't gonna go out for soccer,
mhm.
but my friend um was a goalie, and so he made the team because he's like the only goalie that tried out, and so that he made the freshman team, and then he's like, hey, like we literally don't have enough people, like you can just show up to practice tomorrow and you're on the team. And I was like, okay, and so I
Cool.
did, and but again, like these kids had all been playing in different soccer programs together, and
Ah.
I don't, I know this guy, the goalie, Mike, and I had played with one, maybe two of the other guys in like 5th grade, so it had been a while,
Mhm.
and we went to different. I didn't really know them, but yeah, but I like the idea of individual sports more, I think, and
Mm.
that's not because I dislike people or anything. I just I don't like being responsible for other people's failures.
Mhm.
You know, like if I'm golfing,
Mm.
I can't really mess you up. I mean,
Right.
I know there are team events and stuff like that, but like if we're doing that, like I don't really feel bad if I screw up.
Right.
Whereas like you're playing soccer and yeah, you let a ball through, they score, you fuck up. You got 11 people there pissed at you.
That, it's so funny. I mean, it's not funny, of course, when you're going through it, but just the amount of stupid shit people will bully other people for. It's just like, really? Does that make you feel good about yourself? You're making fun of me because I don't know, how to play soccer very well? Really? Like, who are you trying to impress? I wish I could have my brain, but go through school. And I feel like I would be the bully, but not in the sense of the traditional sense. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
What's the matter with you, first of all?
I think a lot of these groups when you're that age, I think they need a fall guy. They
Correct,
need
correct.
to always be
They
the butt
they
of the joke.
yeah, they need a shoe in.
Right. And yeah, and I felt like in a lot of circles that I ended up being in,
Yeah.
that was so.
Well,
And I do agree that early on to being the new kid for the
yeah.
first couple years, elementary school, and then
Man, we have crazy new kid, wildly different new kid stories. But I guess I was older. Well, how old were you when you moved to Michigan?
I was 8.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
was 12 when I moved to Oregon,
Okay.
and I wasn't this outgoing guy that you see today. But
Shocking to me.
yeah,
I imagine you know this.
oh my God, I was so quiet, and I just wanted to be left alone. Um, but I remember, my best friend still to this day. We were locker partners, and I didn't know who to eat with on the first day of school, and I saw him there, and I was just, I'm gonna eat with him. And it was almost like I forced a friendship because he was very much, still is the, quiet, what's the word? What's the word for not social?
Reserved. I don't know.
Reserved. Yeah, I forget the technical, like whatever. Anyway, so, and then, years later, he was like, dude, thank you. Cause, I introduced him to a group of friends of just people that I was just like, yeah, let's all hang out. Because I don't
Right.
know. I was just like, we need friends. Here's some people who need friends. Let's hang out. Let's do shit.
Oh
Um,
no.
oh,
Damn it.
that was a good run. But yeah, and it literally, and that's why I was always just like, I love Oregon because I liked who I became in Oregon. I wasn't the shy kid who was, always quiet and just not knew what to do. I still don't know what to do, but still, I at least I could make friends and get a group going, and that was always my job.
Yeah. See, I had the opposite experience. I I was very, very outgoing and wild, and
Mm,
would talk to anybody, and be friends with anybody, and do whatever. And then yeah, I came here and was not received well,
mm.
and so that shaped a lot of just looking inward instead.
I would love to see a wild Zachary.
See, I can't do it. Like I can't even. I always tell people like I can't like I don't know how to like yell properly. Like
Oh,
I
I
can't
can't yell.
do it.
I can't yell.
I know, and like I can even tell right now, like this is not the way I should be speaking. But like I'm so used to it because I'm so used to trying to be quiet and under the radar
Mm-hmm.
that like it's hard for me to do that. I notice little things like that, little patterns all the time. Like the way I walk around, primarily at night around a house,
Mm-hmm.
like my own, even like or when I was still at my folks' place, like I do it in such a way that I try to make as little noise as possible.
Right.
I don't want to disrupt anything.
How dare you be courteous?
But I don't like it. Like
Oh, okay.
I
You want to come in
weird.
like a tornado.
Not even that. I just, because I feel like people see it and they're like, "Why are you walking like that?" And it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of trauma here. I don't know.
I think we can both agree that the Pacific Northwest is the best, and that's why.
Yeah.
That's why we're still over there, man. We were left behind.
There must be something about that area that makes you more outgoing.
Yeah.
Because I was and then wasn't, whereas you weren't and then were.
Is it the people? Not to be that guy, but is it?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. It was this weird feeling of going through a majority of my life, my kid life, just not being accepted or being different. And then when I get to Oregon, it was just like, hey, yeah, let's be friends. Like, oh, okay. Or hey, let's. You want to go to this birthday party? Hey, you want to spend the night? You want to hang out? You want to play Dreamcast? Like, yeah. And it's just like, what? Why am I more accepting here than in El Paso? I don't know. El Paso's a
I don't
shit.
know.
El Paso's just a shithole in general. El Paso during the coronavirus got so fed up of shelter in place, they started going out. And do you know what happened?
I can guess.
The numbers went up, and the body, like they were hauling bodies in body bags, just in, like they were filling random places up because they had so many bodies and didn't know what to do with them. I'm just like, yeah, that's El Paso. That's, ugh. No offense, El Paso, but
Unfortunately, Chris, I think that's a lot of the country. I
yeah, I
don't
know.
think they alone get that distinction.
They do because that's who I'm talking about right now. It's just a shithole. I'm glad. No offense, El Paso, but get your shit together, and then maybe I'll talk highly of you.
Sure. I've never been to Texas, anywhere in Texas.
Now just go to Austin. That's worth it. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, I don't. I have fun in Austin. If there's, if it's like an RTX, I'd be like, yeah, go to Austin. That's fun. Um, Other than that, I mean, are you a nature guy? Do you like nature?
Yeah, nature's fine.
I mean, I'm assuming there. Oh crap! I'm assuming there's some cool nature spots and rock formations and shit like that. A majority of the movie Predators was
Okay.
shot in Austin, so a lot of those land formations,
Okay.
obviously not like the giant lush ones, but the waterfalls and the rocks and stuff like that. That's all in Austin.
Very cool. Okay.
So
Keep an eye out.
yeah, but I mean, obviously, there was. I remember at one point you're like, hey, let's go to ACL because Paul McCartney. And
Yeah.
I think that is like the perfect way to go because you're going with a purpose, but also it's a fun time.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Before we leave, you know that movie Sharknado?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it.
If there's a natural disaster with a animal movie that you want to see, what would it be? And it
Um.
can exist. So Sharknado, no. Lava Lantula, no.
Oh, okay.
Like it's got to be. You're pitching this movie.
I'm pitching the movie.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, my favorite animal, of course, is the orca. Now, I'm having trouble coming up with a natural disaster different. It's going to be too similar to Sharknado, right?
Right.
So I'm going to go with my next favorite animal, which is the buffalo.
Oh.
And so I kind of want a fusion between the movie San Andreas, that movie,
Okay.
and buffaloes. I want these buffaloes to cause these massive earthquakes and fissures and all these things that swallow up American civilization.
Oh my God, I would watch the scene of these buffalo just rampaging, and Steve Gutenberg is just like, we got to shut them down, quick, hit the button. Oh, it's in the center of that stampede. Like I could see the green screen happening right in my head.
Right. I feel like it's about time that the bison
Mm.
reclaim the Great Plains. They were
Mm-hmm.
nearly wiped out as a species. So I think it's only fair.
It's only and yeah. So there's a fault that happens in San Andreas, of course, and bison pop out. Is that how it
I would
starts?
think more they would cause it. Like
Oh, okay,
how,
okay, fair enough.
like in the Pokemon franchise, your Tauros, you can teach him the TM Earthquake, and then
Mm,
he can use Earthquake.
mm.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But I'm open to playing with it a little bit, seeing
Yeah.
what works.
Yeah, I like that idea, like an ancient forgotten race of bison.
Right. Yeah.
They're trying to they've spent their years, fucking and trying to get more of them to plan their attack. That's why it's taken so long.
Right. Maybe that's the catalyst.
Yeah.
They've been living underground or something, or in a cave and sealed off from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
They come out, they see that the American bison has been wiped out by the white man, and
Yes.
they decide, no, we're taking this back. We're destroying these cities and these structures and all this, and we're gonna reclaim the American West for the buffalo.
You know what would be the perfect scene is since the Buffalo Bills are doing so well to have them interrupt the Super Bowl when that's happening.
That'd be lovely.
And
I
then
like that
and
idea.
just looking at the t-shirts and the hats and stuff and being like, what the fuck? And
Right.
then making them stampede harder.
Yeah, I love it.
There we go. All right, so look for San Ann Bison.
Yeah, there you go.
San Ann Bison, starring Steve Guttenberg and Kel Mitchell.
Ooh, yeah, that's inspired. I like that.